It happened in Japan.
Yeah. Oh, man, I'm trying to remember this.
Dwayne Ludwig's fight?
Yeah. Why do I feel like Dwayne Ludwig did it to... Eve Edwards. Dwayne Ludwig did it to Eve Edwards. He hurt him, like, really bad. And Eve, like, covered it up.
And Eve was on
figured
top?
Out, yeah, Eve was on top. And Dwayne punched him from the bottom and hurt him really bad. He talked about it on the podcast. Now I remember.
Dude, how long has this fight taken to get to this point? What's going on here? I feel like...
Well, they're in China. Is that where they're at? Maybe they're just giving us a chance to settle in.
Isn't it weird though? China's communist, right? The communists.
That's not really.
They're not really. They're not really.
They're a capitalist country.
Okay.
They're a command economy though, like so where a lot of the decisions are made by the Politburo, by the actual government, and then from there.
Their flag looks like the Soviet Union flag.
Yeah. Well, it's still
Red China, right?
There was a communist revolution.
Not
in China.
anymore though.
No.
Okay.
It's weird because it's not a democracy.
Right. No.
You know, when I went to Beijing for Abu Dhabi, and in the hotels, boom, they have the TV on with the propaganda in your face.
Oh, really? How long ago?
You're told.
Just talking shit on the United States.
Really?
It's a documentary that's on, it's the default setting on your TVs in Beijing.
Fuck them.
When you get there, you sit down to watch TV and a documentary on how bad the United States is playing.
This is why we're doing what we're doing. Look at the United States. The United States is, they're just going, down the list of all the things that the United States does that
when you go
is
there,
detrimental to society.
Did you have to do your fingerprints on the machine? You get all your fingerprints are recorded, and then you're given, at least when I was shooting a movie, you were given a...
you were just there, right?
Yeah,
dude?
you were given a memo to say if you, and no political dissent, like you will not voice your political point of view if it's contrary to the government's, line.
I don't know why.
And if you do that, you'll be asked to leave, or you could be, put in jail.
Didn't some American kid try and steal something?
No,
like
that was in
sunglasses
North
or some
Korea.
shit.
Oh
no,
yeah,
not North Korea.
that was Ball's son.
Ball's son, yeah. The UCLA basketball team stole some sunglasses.
Yeah.
And fucking Trump had to help get them out.
They don't fuck around.
They're
in
about
China.
to be super fucked. Oof.
But Deng Xiaoping said famously, "To be rich is glorious," which was so contrary to the communist manifesto.
Well, it's cool as fuck that they're allowing the UFC in there, so it can't be that communist.
It's a huge market. Everybody wants the Chinese market.
Well, that's the next big push for the UFC, right? Internationally, they're growing like a motherfucker.
You're not getting Google. When we tried, you had to keep trying to find servers that would provide Google and the internet in China.
Because they limit you to the access of everything.
Yes,
right?
And then they find you and they shut that down. Then you got to find another one. So anybody who worked on the set,
cool, man.
Anybody who worked on the set couldn't get. You're given a phone there. So when as an actor, I was given a phone with WeChat.
Phone?
It's a phone issued to me that I can use there. I can't use technically my phone and link into the World Wide Web. That's
like a
not
Cricket
too many
phone?
firewalls. Yeah. And then by the way, if you want to use your phone, you download something called WeChat, which is an app which, is controlled by somebody. So it's there's a lot of groupthink. There's zero dissent.
And if you say something derogatory about the government,
you disappear.
And something like WeChat, they probably monitor it.
Jesus, man. Fuck.
You think they monitor it, Brian?
Of course they monitor it.
Yeah.
Of course they do.
You didn't text me.
It's an amazing example of how you can control a lot of people. But,
And then North Korea, there is no internet, correct?
No. North Korea.
They get no internet,
North Korea is
no
the worst,
TV channels,
worst place
no
on the
HBO.
planet.
I talked to a friend of mine
food.
who works for the government, and his wife works for the government too, and they had to go to Russia for something. And he said you were told just absolutely think you're being followed everywhere you go.
Yeah.
Assume they're listening to every word you say. Assume that your hotel room's bugged.
Yep.
And then where you go, you're being followed.
That's right.
It's kind of like the States.
More evidence WeChat is recording private messages for Beijing to spy on users.
Yep.
Did you even use the phone really, B? Not really. You text me every now and then and tell me how bad it sucks.
Hasn't that been happening already for a while? Don't we already know that? That they're like...
Yeah.
Everything
that's
it's
just
online
when it's confirmed like that, it just freaks people out, as well it should. But we forgot how this is why freedom of expression and freedom of speech in this country is so important, because while this is happening here in the United States, and freedom of speech is something that it gets up for debate sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like who gets to decide, who gets to say this and gets to say that, and what should we stop? The problem with any kind of censorship is right while we're here being able to talk shit on a podcast, there are big, giant spots of the world filled with billions of people that can't do this.
Right.
If they did
Oh,
this,
really?
they would get arrested.
Like what
They would
country?
get locked up.
That's exactly right.
What country?
This is deja vu.
China.
You
China,
can't
North
do
Korea.
podcasts in China?
The
Dude, if
Arab-
we did podcasts the way we do podcasts,
Game over.
no fucking chance, man.
The Arab world. I mean, one of the things
No
that came
chance,
out, one of
right?
the things in the United Arab Emirates and Qatar and all, what's come out is that these governments are saying the royal family, the people that are in power, they go, well, there's political dissent. So you've got journalists or people who form groups that for, say, let's say, democracy or elections. And guess what? They hire American mercenaries. There's just a whole article on
Like
it.
Blackwater dudes?
Guys like that, they hire American mercenaries to take care of their terrorist problem. And their terrorist
Sounds
problem
like
means
us.
that they get, as long as the American company gets issued weaponry and orders from the standing army, then they can do whatever they want.
Jesus Christ.
And so this all came, what was the article I just read? It was fascinating. I think it was in the New York Times. But it was just exposed where there were these badass special forces guys making a fortune, essentially acting as mercenaries in countries like the United Arab Emirates, etc., to get rid of their terrorist problem. Now, that's the royal family saying it's a terrorist problem when it could very well be just a political group, but they're getting killed.
That's terrible.
So, but the bigger issue in this country is apparently, from what I'm seeing in my own experience, is that when you put a certain ad on Facebook and Facebook decides that ad might be offensive to someone,
My account just got flagged, yeah.
okay, and so even if you say get in the best shape of your life or whatever it might be, that might make other people feel uncomfortable. For whatever reason, it's either a bot, an algorithm, or somebody is flagging that ad or shutting down your account. And I know a number of people that's happened to. So what the fuck is going on there?
But also too is if let's say you do an ad or if you do a post on Instagram. Let's say you have 2 million followers. I don't know how many you have. Let's say you have 60 million, and you do a post. They limit how many people it reaches now. You have to pay extra to make sure it reaches
They got
more
you.
people.
They
This is
got
Facebook.
you. It was
Facebook
fr-
does
I
that.
don't mind that
Instagram.
because that's
Instagram does that too.
That's why it says promote your post. Like, why I have fucking 60
That's
million
why?
followers. Yeah.
So that's
Only
how they're
certain
going to make
amount of
money.
followers.
That
But
seems
here's
like
the
a
thing.
business model I don't
But
like.
hold on. But is it fucked up? 'Cause
Smart.
here, yeah, it's kind of smart.
Yeah.
Right.
It's business.
I mean, if
Just
you're
business.
a person, like say, if
Smart
you're one of
doesn't
those,
mean it's not fucked up. though.
one of those fitness people that grow their Instagram by just putting
Ass
very
pics.
not there's dudes too. There's guys that I follow that are just like super jacked and they're doing like one arm chin ups and shit. And
You follow?
flips? Yeah, follow a lot of fitness
alright,
dudes. Settle down, man.
Okay, bro.
Take it
I'm
easy, bro.
comfortable. They're
comfortable,
always
bro.
in a gym where they can work out shirtless. Sure, right? Everyone's shirtless, but they're doing impressive shit. There's like a bunch of them that I follow.
Okay. What were you
I forgot
saying?
my point. You made me nervous.
Having
No,
them
about-
pay-
about-
If they
paying
can
and
promote their
promoting.
posts, man, they'll reach all these extra people. Their thing will grow. Their business will grow.
I'm a
It makes
fan of
sense.
that. I'm a fan of that. What I'm not a fan
It's
of
good
is
investment.
what I have a question about is there somebody in charge of what's permissible and what's not according to a certain code of
Facebook?
conduct, and do they have a political agenda? So in
Oh,
other words,
gotcha.
so if I
Right,
put out
right.
something that has profanity or maybe a stand-up clip where I want to get people and it's a clip that is offensive to said person
It's a
whose
touchy clip or
responsibility
something,
is,
yeah.
yeah,
Right.
they can go no,
Nope, flag
and who's
it.
stopping them from doing that?
Who is stopping them?
But see with the dudes with their shirts off, flex and shit, when they're trying to get clients, that's fine, and they can reach other people outside their followers is what it should be.
Yeah.
But if you have 100,000 followers, it should reach all 100,000 that
Yeah,
you build.
I see what you're saying.
That's what's crazy to me.
Yeah, they're going to lose everybody. There's going to be a new Instagram if they start doing that shit and it gets out of hand. People just leave.
Well, you know what shadow banning is, right?
No.
There's a concept of shadow banning, and I don't know if this is. Jamie would be able to speak to this better than me. Has that ever been proved that they actually do shadow ban people?
What's that?
Or is that the
look at that
term has been
Veritas.
used is that if you say were on Twitter and maybe you were conservative and you said a lot of rude things about liberals, that maybe they would decide that although it doesn't violate the terms of service, what you do is makes them uncomfortable. They make a moral judgment and they decide to limit your engagement
That's
with
what I'm
other
talking
people.
about. Yeah.
This is somehow possible. No,
But,
this is
but if
possible,
there's a
right?
hater, but is that like
Yeah.
a hater?
It's all. And what you're saying with the paying of posts too, it happens similarly there too. If you were an account that never paid,
Yeah.
and once you give them $5, you're like flagged now as an account that will pay. And
Right,
they
but
change
we're
your
talking about
engagement.
Twitter.
It's
Twitter, you
All
don't pay.
across the board. Yeah, you can pay on Twitter too.
How do you pay on Twitter? Do you pay on Twitter?
You don't have to, but
You
there
don't
are
have to,
brands
you
that
can.
pay.
There's an
yeah.
option.
Wait a minute,
yeah.
you can pay?
Yeah, promoted tweets. It's a
Promoted.
What?
The
Really?
top tweets.
The top trending topic for the last year or two is a paid. It says paid or promoted.
Really?
Yeah, you just have to.
All
notice,
of them are
like,
going to it because they get money now.
That's how they're.
Well,
paid.
Who's been
Yeah.
banned from Twitter?
A lot of people, man.
Really?
Your boy,
lot of
your
people.
fucking
Alex
boy.
Jones.
Alex Jones,
Alex
the most
Jones.
famous.
Who
probably.
gets banned?
Owen
Who
Benjamin's
gets
been banned from Twitter.
He has.
who gets
Yep.
banned more, conservatives or liberals?
Conservatives. But liberals
By
get
a-
banned too. There's liberals that have put out death threats. They've been banned.
But
They
in
should be,
general,
though.
though,
Death
in general,
threats?
who
Yeah, they
gets-
should be.
Is it lopsided? Is it lopsided or is
I don't
it even?
know. That's a good question. We should find out.
What is the
Google.
what is the
Some should
criteria
be banned,
for
though, yeah?
being banned?
That's a good question too.
Is it
It's
to
like
incite
terms of
violence
service.
or is it?
You violate their terms of service, and definitely if you incite violence, that's definitely a no-no. Racial slurs are a no-no.
Racist.
But you
Man,
can
it's a
call
gray
someone.
area.
I think you
I
can
don't
call
think
someone
it
a
is.
fuckhead. You can call someone a fuckhead, but you can't call them like
Yeah.
a guinea fuckhead.
Yeah.
There's certain things you can say and certain things you can't say, but a lot of it's subjective.
Yeah.
But then some of it's pretty black and white. Like if you're like, man, I want to go, or if someone should blow up that fucking school,
Yeah,
fuck those
of course,
kids,
of course.
or the racist stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, all of that.
I think you got to regulate the hate too. If it's just bullying and shit like that,
Yeah.
I mean, just ban them.
Well, it's like, here's the question, and this is who gets to decide what's hateful and what's not. And the problem is they keep pushing it further and further and further, and then even just insults are hateful. Even like this
Where you're
guy is a
roasting each other?
dumbass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even that's hateful. Saying
Yeah.
someone's a dumbass is hateful. I mean, they're gonna. There's only so far you could keep going down that road.
Right.
You want to make sure that you have free expression, and you don't get free expression if you ban people from saying things that just don't seem that bad to me.
What
Well,
about
I mean-
Alex Jones? You think his banning was?
I'd like to see what he said.
The Sandy Hook stuff.
The Sandy Hook, but here's the thing.
He's getting sued for that anyway.
But here's
the
the thing. Yeah, he was already getting sued for that. Like, what did he say that got him? I think something happened that he did had nothing to do with even what he said.
Right.
He confronted them at some event, right? And he was yelling in the back and
Yeah, the
disrupting.
final event happened after he confronted people in Congress and
Well,
made a big
he's got.
fuss.
Hey,
at-
Alex
at the
Jones
hearing.
has a regular on, a former CIA officer, Dr. Steve Pachenik. He has him on like once every 6 months. That's where he got the Sandy Hook information, was from him. That dude is on
Fuck
video.
does a CIA guy know about Sandy Hook? The fuck would he know? That's the dumbest fucking thing that Alex Jones has ever done. It's also immoral. And
No, that's
those
what that
parents-
guy was saying.
I don't
That
give a
guy,
fuck that
Dr.
guy.
Steve Pachenik
Fuck
was
that
saying
guy.
it.
Fuck Steve. Whatever. If he said it didn't, fuck him too.